Adventurous kids explore with education and learning what a wild life is in the Everglades. I want to explore the Museum of Discovering Science. What plants do butterflies like? I want to know about Key West. Adventurous kids, learning and fun. Adventurous kids!
Today I'm going to tell you about Helen Keller. Helen Keller was the first deaf and blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. She wrote several books and campaigned for people with disabilities and women's rights. Helen Adams Keller was born on June 27, 1880 in Tuscumbia, Alabama. She was a very happy, healthy baby. Her father, Arthur, worked for a newspaper, while her mother, Kate, took care of the home and baby Helen. She grew up on her family's large farm called Ivy Green. She enjoyed the animals, including the horses, dogs, and chickens. When Helen was around 1.5 years old, she became very sick. She had a high fever and a bad headache for several days. Although Helen survived, her parents soon realized that she had lost both her sight and her hearing. Helen tried to communicate with the people around her. She had special motions that she would use to indicate that she wanted her mom or her dad. However, she would also get frustrated. She realized that she was different, and it was extremely difficult to let others know what she needed. She would sometimes throw temper tantrums, kicking and hitting other people in anger. Soon Helen's parents realized that she needed some special help. They contacted the Perkins Institute for the Blind in Boston. The director suggested a former student named Annie Sullivan. Annie had been blind but had her eyesight restored by surgery. Perhaps her unique experience would allow her to help Helen. Annie came to work with Helen on March 3, 1887, and would be her helper and companion for the next 50 years. This special friendship was later shown in the play and film The Miracle Worker. Sullivan immediately began to teach Helen to communicate by spelling words into her hand, beginning with DOLL, or the doll that she had bought Keller as a present. At first, Keller was not successful, and she could not comprehend that every object had a word identifying it. When Sullivan was trying to teach Keller the word for mug, Keller became so frustrated she broke the mug. But soon Keller began to imitate Sullivan's hand gestures in monkey-like imitation. The next month, Keller made a breakthrough when she realized that the motions her teacher was making on the palm of her hand, while running cool water over her other hand, symbolized the idea of water. After this, Helen felt more confident and was determined to learn the motions of all the familiar objects in her world. Helen attended many schools specifically for blind and deaf students, learned several methods of communication, including touch lip reading, braille, speech typing, and finger spelling. Helen learned how to read people's lips with her hands, and she could read sign language using her hands. She also learned how to use braille, a writing system for visually impaired that uses raised dots on paper to symbolize letters and words. She was very determined and set herself the goal of learning to speak so that she could communicate with a wider audience. She achieved this goal and went on to give many speeches and lectures. In 1904, at the age of 24, Keller graduated from Wycliffe College and became the first ever deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. As Helen grew older, she wanted to help other people like herself. She wanted to inspire them and give them hope. She joined the American Foundation for the Blind and traveled the country giving speeches and raising money for the foundation. Later, during World War II, she visited with wounded army soldiers, encouraging them not to give up. Helen spent much of her life working to raise money and awareness for people with disabilities, especially the deaf and the blind. In 1915, she set up the Helen Keller International Organization. This organization is still running today, and its mission is to prevent blindness and reduce malnutrition around the world. In 1931, she attended the first World Council and made Braille the world standard writing system for blind people. She received many honors and awards for her work. including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and she was elected to the National Women's Hall of Fame. Helen died in her sleep on June 1st, 1968 at her home, Connecticut, a few weeks before her 88th birthday. Helen was an important woman in history because she showed the world that deaf and blind people could be educated and go on to lead fulfilling lives. She was an international celebrity and was an influential campaigner to guard the awareness of disabled persons, women's rights, and civil rights. She visited 39 countries and befriended kings, queens, presidents, artists, writers, and activists. She wrote 12 books and numerous magazine articles. Eventually, she learned to read and write in 5 languages. Thanks for watching this episode of Adventurous Kids.
What did you learn today?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
What was the most interesting fact?
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous Kids!
Adventurous